You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, we're going to talk about Baker Mayfield. You guys know on this channel we talk about Baker a lot. Mainly because, hey, we talk about the Bucs a lot and we talk about the Browns a lot. And, of course, Baker's got connective tissue to both of those teams. Like, you know, would the Browns like a do-over? Well, after this last season, Baker Mayfield was third in the Comeback Player of the Year voting and had a season that was top 10 like in the NFL. You got to wonder, hey, would they like a do-over between Baker and Deshaun Watson? Well, Baker's heading into a free agency period, and there's been, I believe, from the reports that's out there, if you want to believe them, preliminary talks between the Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield for a new contract. Now, rumor has it, it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $28 to $40 million a year for 2 to 3 years. My gut feeling feels sort of like 2 years with a potential for a third. And I'm pretty comfortable with Baker. If I was in the room, I'd be pretty comfortable with Baker around $35 million. Well, and even at that, if you go look at what the salaries are, I mean, that's $40 million is getting to be mid-range, which is kind of nuts in the big scheme of things. But the salary cap keeps going up. So, you know, I mean, at this point, because of television contracts, the NFL's printing money, and that rolls down to the salary cap. So we've got a couple of things here. We've got Baker making some, I guess you could say, rather pointed comments to the Buccaneers, about where things stand as of right now. And then we've got a very, I would say, I was sort of shocked by the statement that Josh Allen made about Baker Mayfield. Now, I knew Baker had what I considered to be more of a slightly above average arm, but I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that when you watch Baker throw the ball, I mean, Baker's not huge. All right, the Josh Allen, who we're talking about here, making comments about Baker's, 6'5", 250? And Baker's like, 6'1", 215, 218. And when Baker goes to throw the ball, it feels like he has to really wind up and let it go. But Josh Allen seems to think that Baker Mayfield's got the strongest arm in the NFL. And actually, there's one thing that's brought up that is kind of eyeball-raising from back when he did the NFL Combine, because I was like, wow, that is pretty damn strong. So maybe the narratives about Baker not having as strong an arm are just flat false. So let's go over to Pewter Report, and we're going to be talking about Baker's contract. So while there have been a ton of signs alluding to Baker Mayfield reuniting with the Bucs, there's no guarantee he's back in Tampa until he's signed on the dotted line, and that's a big deal. You're going into an offseason where the rival Falcons want a quarterback. All right, the Patriots, Alex Van Pelt, offensive coordinator, Baker Mayfield. Alex was with Baker in Cleveland. In fact, that big playoff game that Baker went out and they scored over 40 points against the Steelers in, well, Alex Van Pelt called that game with Baker at quarterback. All right, so there's definitely connective tissue with the Patriots. Now, Liam Cohen was brought in as he had been with the Rams when Baker came through there. Runs the same offense with some different terminology than Dave Canales. So there's connective tissue everywhere. But the Falcons are going to want a quarterback. The Patriots, rumors about them signing a vet. The Steelers, rumors about them signing a vet. I think Mayfield might love an opportunity to face the Browns twice a year. I think that might be a thing. The Raiders, with Baker's attitude, seems kind of like a fit. We know Baker's attitude. He's got a lot of moxie, got a lot of that Brett Favre-like fire. So that's why Baker Mayfield has to be careful with his words. Mayfield was on with Dan Patrick this week where he was asked a number of questions, both Bucs related and other topics. In my personal opinion, Patrick is one of the best interviewers in sports, so he tends to get the best out of a guest, and particularly for Mayfield in this moment. After doing an introduction, Patrick asked, quote, "I mentioned your Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback. Is that how you are still introduced as the Buccaneers quarterback? Question mark. Baker didn't pull no punches. Baker Mayfield replies, quote, "That's to be determined." Yikes. Patrick right after, "Who's determining that?" And that's when Mayfield went into detail. "I think the ball's in their court right now," Mayfield said. "I've been vocal about the mutual interest. I'm very appreciative of the opportunity I had there and just how the run the organization. Let's do this. And how they ran the organization and what they're all about. Thanks, Pewter Report. I guess that's a typo. How do we win? How do we put our guys in the best position possible to win? I've been vocal about that. And going into free agency, my mind would be the same thing. Looking something similar to that, obviously seeing them firsthand, I know how they operate." Patrick, soon after, asked Baker about how the Bucs were successful last season. If one would recall, many thought the Bucs would be competing for the top pick in the draft. Yeah, a lot of people, their over-under was 6.5 wins, but you were hearing a lot of 1, 2, 3, and 4 win totals out there. They went 9-8, win a NFL wildcard game. That's pretty impressive. The status of the Bucs will certainly be set out by Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, and many others. Mike Evans is a free agent as well. I don't know why everybody thought that Tampa wasn't going to be a very good team, Mayfield said. Obviously, Tom Brady is Tom, great quarterback, obviously, but a lot of pieces that were there for those deep playoff runs were still there, still intact. Great locker room, the culture's great. Those guys know how to win, and they've been there before. Yeah, it could have been such a disastrous thing, and just Baker coming in, playing with that confidence, and him having the attitude, the swag, and I don't like to use that word. I don't love that word, but it's a good word to use in this case. The confidence to play right after Tom leaves. He didn't care that Tom Brady played there at all. He came out and just started slinging the rock around. And I thought that was pretty impressive. Maybe kind of an sneaky, underrated part of all this. So, Josh Allen came out and made some interesting words. Said some interesting things. He was on Speak for Yourself, or it's called Speak now, I think, or something like that. And they were asking him about who's got the strongest arm in the NFL. Now, I would have said right off the bat, it's Josh Allen. But Allen was like, not so fast. Allen appeared on Fox Sports 1 Speak during Super Bowl Media Week when former NFL running back and Bills teammate LaShawn McCoy asked him for his opinion on the strongest arm debate. While not his pick for the title, Allen gave a special shout-out to a quarterback whose arm talent he feels is underappreciated. Baker Mayfield of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Quote, who's got a sneaky big arm is Mayfield, Allen said. Baker's got a cannon, and I don't think he gets enough credit for it. I'm serious. He can absolutely chuck the ball. That's interesting. McCoy and the rest of the Speak crew laughed off Allen's comments, but looking deeper, he seems to be on to something. Mayfield is one of the few quarterbacks to have ever thrown or eclipsed the 60 miles per hour mark at the NFL Combine, Josh Allen being another. And in December of 2020, he threw the longest NFL pass. Pro Football Focus has ever tracked in a game. I know he threw a very long bomb to end the game, and it should have been a pass interference call on a Hail Mary against the Bills, against Josh Allen and the Bills. Allen and Mayfield were two of the top quarterback prospects in the 2018 draft, but their careers have been drastically different turns. The number 7 overall pick, Allen, has been one of the best quarterbacks in the league, finished in the top 5 of MVP voting in 3 of the last 4 years. On the other hand, Mayfield, the number 1 overall pick, has been on a roller coaster throughout his career. Well, again, let us not forget the organization that drafted him. The Browns, right? And while the Browns they've put together a really strong team right now. I mean, they've got a lot of talent. The Browns went to the playoffs, and who knows what happens if Baker Mayfield's the quarterback, and we know Joe Flacco did a hell of a job, an unbelievable job, got to comeback player of the year, beat out Baker. But there was a lot of chaos for Baker with the Browns. It was constant offensive turnover in the coaching ranks, right? And if you look back, the one quarterback that had the most success was Baker in the last, 5 or 6 years. So, that might be a different scenario. Let's say Baker gets drafted. Stefanski's already the coach. Now, if I'm not going crazy, I can swear Hugh Jackson was there. And then something called a Freddie Kitchens, who's like a tight ends coach in college right now, or maybe he's a tight ends coach with the Giants, something like that. But we know Freddie Kitchens is not a head coach. And there's a lot of chaos, and that's why a lot of these NFL quarterbacks that get drafted fail, because they're in chaos. Kind of odd. We talk about the Patriots a lot. The Patriots situation the last 2 years at offense looks nearly identical to the situation, that chaotic situation that Baker was drafted into with the Browns. I mean, Joe Judge and Matt Patricia, anybody. I'm just pointing that out. All right? Except the Browns had more offensive weapons. But anyway, I find that interesting that he's got that strong an arm, and I guess I underrated it. Now, in case you're wondering, I did have it pulled up here, and I'll just tell you, I don't even share the screen on it, but Baker was 9th in the league in passing yards, 4,045, 28 TDs. That was 7th in the league, and he was tied for 13th with 10 interceptions, and he had 171 scramble yards. So, sneaky good stats. Sneaky really good. We're talking 2 of the main categories. He's a top 10 NFL quarterback. So, we'll have to see. But the Baker Mayfield is going to be one of the most fascinating storylines. If I'm the Bucs, I just get it done. Just get it done, sign him, get him back in there. Because if they wait, the Vikings are going to jump in. If they lose Kirk Cousins, which they very well could, the Steelers might be like, who we like? Baker. They might look at him, So that's going to get very interesting. Tell me what you think. Baker's about to make a lot of money. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.